Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something I've been enjoying, you never know it could happen. Well, this is my top shelf news for the week, bringing you the best in fantasy, sci-fi, and sometimes horror, as it mostly relates to books, but also as it relates to media. And we've got some of each, mostly books though. And I did go to FanX last week, which is why I didn't have a news video at the end of last week. So we're making it up for it here. So I've got a bit of an update on FanX. I'm hoping to do a big, longer video on that just to kind of update as to the shenanigans I got up to. You could see an update on my Instagram at ShelfCentered13. And then also a little bit on Twitter. It's Centered Shelf on Twitter. We just switched those. So you could see some more on those places. A lot of pictures that I posted. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, let's jump into the news though. That's what we're here for. All right, for the books, a couple books I want to talk about that are coming out here soon. The Trial of Rooker Flynn. It's a sequel to The Crimes of Rooker Flynn by A.R. Witham. I've been a big fan of A.R. Witham ever since I read The Legend of Blackjack. It's super good. Lots of fun. Set in the same world, I understand, I think. But this is a direct sequel to The Crimes of Rooker Flynn. So that tells me it is literally a trial, like legal trial of Rooker Flynn and not just going through some stuff. So anyway, I love these covers. I think they really, really do the work justice. So I think it's fun here. Then we've got another independently published book, When Wizards Follow Fools by Andrew Rowe. This is Arcane Ascension number 5. Been a huge fan, but I was just realizing I've only read a couple books, so I need to catch up already, clearly. There was a time I was waiting a little bit just because Andrew Rowe's a busy guy, and he has been working through a number of things, so I need to catch up, and I've been told I need to catch up sooner rather than later because this is good stuff and only gets better, so I'm excited for that. But I like this cover. I think it's great. I felt like the first cover, Sufficiently Advanced Magic, kind of boring, to be honest, but I feel like they've really just gotten action-packed and fun since then. Speaking of cover news, we've got Jeff Brown covers for the Broken Binding for the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series. We've got all 4 of them, and they're breathtaking. Brown's one of my new favorite cover artists, to be honest, working today in fantasy. They're just so detailed. There's so much just epicness going on. I mean, tell me you don't want those. They're just amazing. So absolutely loving it, and hopefully keeps up the good work. Speaking of artwork, though, of Darkness and Light, Ryan Cahill, I think is how you pronounce it. I think I've been pronouncing it wrong for a number of videos. Art piece by Renee Eigner. I just love it. I have no idea what it's about or what it refers to or whatever. I do need to read the series, and again, sooner rather than later, but it absolutely looks really cool. Speaking of cool looking books, this is Fury of the Gods, John Gwynne, Bloodsworn Saga number 3. It looks cool, but it's out here just in this month, literally the month of October 24th. I've just been seeing the advanced reading copies making their way out to reviewers, so that's exciting news. I can finally, and you'll see in my update video that should, I'm hoping, come out tomorrow. I've had some technical difficulties this week, but I'm hoping tomorrow. And I finally am in the John Gwynne crowd. I'm a fan. I have read a book, and I plan to read many more. So I'm excited for this journey. But Malice was awesome. But I know I'm speaking to the crowd on that one. All right, quick update on FanX. I was able to go to FanX. I was able to just geek out, and I'm still living there in my mind. Work is just, it's that much harder to go through when you can have this experience where you're, I don't know, there's something about, I'd never really gone to a big convention like this. There's just something about that many fans in one place. It was just like the nicest people. It was just, I mean, I felt like a celebrity with my group of friends, like running around being, characters from Lord of the Rings, and people I think we got 10 steps into the building and people were already like, oh, can we get your picture? It just made you feel great. And then you go around doing it to other people and they're also like, well, yeah. And it's just so cool. And that was just the beginning. I mean, just kind, nice people geeking out about stuff. I talked to many people just in line to see the Hobbits, which turned out to be 3 Hobbits and a dwarf, and it was awesome. And anyway, it's just a blast of a time. I mean, I got to meet some celebrities, depending on your definition of that. But I think, the Scott Sterling himself I got to meet, as well as get a couple books signed from Brandon Sanderson, which was just awesome. I got to just talk with him for half a second, and he's just as nice and kind as everyone says. And then got to actually go to his panel, which was cool because he was talking about they finally moved him to the grand ballroom, and the big one, and the same one that the Hobbits and Dwarf were in. But his was actually the most packed, and I saw it. I mean, I was in line and going, am I going to make it in? And I was just getting nervous there. And you just saw that line was huge, and it was way bigger. And I was way later to see the Lord of the Rings Hobbits than I was for Sanderson's, and it was still like Sanderson's was way longer line. It was crazy. So anyway, how cool. But what's cool is, so Sanderson, just to talk about that real quickly here, he kind of saves, he said he wants to kind of save some of the some announcements for big conventions like this. So there was a moment where this was our news, and now I'm late with it because it's already out there, but the artwork was revealed for Wind and Truth.
The end pages for the Stormlight Archive.
This is the book 5 of the Stormlight Archive, which is coming out later this year, actually pretty soon here, a couple months, December. But the end papers were revealed. I think they look so cool. The way he described it is, this is like, it's these, famous characters, Radiant, some might call them, but as depicted by like a famous artist of the time in the books. So it's kind of cool. So it's like this realized, like almost religious type artwork. So I think that's cool how he described that, and I never understood that, and now it makes a lot more sense in the other end papers that I've seen, in the other books that I have. But how cool is that? That's really, I think, just, I don't know, some of the nuances that, like, that's really what sells me on a fantasy world. And Sanderson's just got so much to it. I mean, speaking of which, just the questions were like high tier for the Sanderson panel. I mean, one of the questions for, I think it was the Terminator panel we went to, was they were like, do you like no, it was Andy Serkis, because we saw Andy Serkis too. The question was, do you like Legos? There's just somewhere it was just like, or the Terminator one was, I know the music is very iconic for the Terminator movies. What would you choose the Terminator movie music to be? And it was like, I think you said it. I don't think it can be anything else other than that. After the celebrities were like, what? I have no idea what you're saying here. So anyway, Sanderson fans and questions were like, I mean, I was just like, look, I've read Stormlight Archive to at least a healthy degree, and I was like, there's a lot of investiture words there. So anyway, it was really cool to see the fans fanning out there. He did, in his weekly update before FanX, so last week, he did mention that he is done with Moment Zero, and he's got a name for it, Moment Zero, his novella that's a non-Cosmere novella. It's going to be essentially the, what do you call it, the backbone, the main kind of pull for his collection that he'll be releasing here soon of all the non-Cosmere novellas, short stories, and so he needed something to kind of pull people in, something new. So that's it. It's got it, and it's done. He also kind of casually mentioned the Snapshot TV show is going in the right direction. So of all things, funny enough, it might be Snapshot that gets the first adaptation for Sanderson. I think that's kind of cool. It's a cool story. It's fun. Right now, then we got a couple bits of media news. This was brought by a fan of the channel. Thank you so much. Pointed out Mickey17, starring Robert Pattinson, who has like quite, had quite the career, let's just say. I think it was like everybody was like absolutely his biggest fan for Harry Potter, and then Twilight was kind of like up and down, and then it had a downer, and then, Tenet is what it is. I don't know, but I feel like he still gained a lot of popularity back with a bunch of indie movies and whatnot, and really, I don't know, has just been hugely impressive, and he's an insanely good actor despite Twilight. So I'm rooting for him, that's for sure. But anyway, this is, first of all, it's a movie about, he essentially gets like is like a test subject for new bodies in the future. It's like a sci-fi concept of like he can change bodies and then he dies a bunch of times in different scenarios. The big draw really for me is not necessarily Robert Pattinson, who, you know, I think he did a great job with Batman. Excellent. I loved Batman way more than I ever thought I would, because I'm a Christian Bale stan, you could pretty much say, but absolutely loved Pattinson in that. But really, I think the driving factor, which will make this what I think it will be, is Bong Joon-ho is the director. Also directed Snowpiercer, which is just an excellent movie if you haven't seen it. The Chris Evans version, which is all there is, I guess. But movie-wise, there is a show I've never watched. Let me know if I should. Some I heard of Parasite. You know, it might have won an award or two. I don't know. But anyway, so that's kind of cool. It's really the director that I'm definitely on board with. And the concept just sounds really awesome. Reminds me of some Scalzi books, but I won't get into which ones. I don't want to spoil too much. But anyway, kind of a concept that I've somewhat seen before that I really liked and has done well. Then we've got some Narnia news. This is Greta Gerwig apparently is on board to direct 2 Narnia movies. I believe I reported on this a while ago. I want to say I did. 2 Narnia movies, and apparently the article that I read said they're scheduled to film for about 7 months, which to the author of the article was like, it sounds like both movies are being filmed at one time. The question is, what books are we talking about? What are we doing? Could be Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Makes the most sense, seems like. It's been a while. My kids love that movie. Oh, I had the name down. Saoirse, is that it? Saoirse Ronan is on board. We don't know what. Could be, I doubt it's one of the kids. Maybe an older version. But I'm guessing more like maybe the Queen. I don't know. It could be a lot of things. So that's good news. They've been a good team in the past. I am like, at least what I've read around this is kind of like a modern kind of, almost retelling, or at least modern sentiments involved with Narnia. So probably going to make a lot of people mad, I'm sure, regardless. We'll see. Narnia is known for being overtly religious and religious themed and an allegory, right? So we'll see what this brings. I think regardless, it's going to be entertaining and it's going to be interesting to watch. However that goes, I will, we'll hold off any judgments here at this point. But, that is an interesting pick, I think, as a director for a very religious set of books. So, but again, hey, we'll see how this goes. In sad news, and I'm ending this because while I was at FanX, this kind of news broke. Maggie Smith sadly passed away. Just McGonagall, right? Will always be McGonagall, is McGonagall, and just from Harry Potter, and just, and so many other roles that are just classic. Just an amazing actress. The world has lost a great, and that was sad news. People were already posting kind of like, because it's FanX, and they were like, had, pictures of her and, in loving memory and all that. And I felt like, oh man, this community is just awesome. So I really felt that. So anyway, sad news to end this on. So anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for all your support, all the love that I've gotten. Thanks for your patience with this week. I know this is the first video coming out this week, and it's a Thursday. Let's hope this comes out. But anyway, don't forget there are Kindle deals down below in the description. I always like to include them. They're just, because I'm an addict myself, but also it does support the channel because they are affiliate links. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.